Hey, Stoney here with another game of Mechabellum. This is a wild one. You've seen fan carries before, but I guarantee that you haven't seen anything like this, especially at 1900 MMR. So don't try this at home, kids, if you value your MMR. Let's go. At the bottom here, we have Molek playing as a speed specialist, and he's up against a 201 player playing as a saber-tooth specialist. Right off the bat, Molek decided to go asym aggro, but instead of going crawlers, he decided to put tarantulas and fans right on the line here. Very interesting, and it's being met by another asym aggro on the opposite side with sledgehammers and triple arc lights. Alright, I think round one, it might go... I can't really tell. I mean, with the power debuff, normally I will give this to the Tarantula player. But with the tower debuff and potentially another tower debuff, I just don't think the Tarantula has what it takes. Alright, we're going to get into round two. We'll have the first unit drop. Stonecaller would be a great option considering just how many fans there are currently on the line. But instead it's going to be a Fire Badger, and that's also a great option. But the thing with Fire Badger though is that while it may be good against things like fans, they're kind of terrible against larger units like Tarantulas, whereas the Stormcaller, they are pretty good against both extremely large and extremely small units. The real problem right now with fans this close to the line is that they could hit Mech Rage at any time and they'll be in your face. Alright, so Molek continues to add even more fans, and he also picked the Fire Badgers. So very interesting. Now, the whole theory behind fan carry is that you want to get some early levels on your fans by giving them a early tech. And at the same time, you want to add units in front of the fans so that they can tank and the fans themselves can deal the damage. Right now, none of this is happening. In fact, the fans themselves are dying very quickly to the Fire Badgers. And now with Sabertooth on the board, I think our red player should be able to get this round. And as the game progresses and as more larger units are being brought onto the board, and if your fans are stuck on level 1 with no tech, that is a very dangerous place to be, because in later rounds, many things can kill fans, right? So we got Fire Badgers, that's already great against fans. We have Wraith, excellent against fans. Stonecrawlers with fire, really, really good against fans. And of course, there's the Vulcan, Arc Lights. You can get high-level Mustangs. 70% of your unit roster can deal with level 1 fans extremely well. So, okay, speaking of tech, that's the first one that's coming in. I'm surprised it is actually range instead of Mech Rage, considering how close these fans are to the line. I think Mech Rage might have been even better because it just allows the fans to do more damage. Now looking at the board here, you notice something is very strange. There are no large units, but instead, Molek is relying on the shield bubble to provide the tanking. Interesting. I wouldn't call it the most efficient way of providing the tanking, but it's certainly working. And here goes 100 supply that he's never going to get back, but these fans are bringing down the Sabertooth, and they're also bringing down these arc lights. Wow, that is something you don't see every day. Foregoing a high HP unit and trading it off for a shield bubble. I mean, a shield bubble right now, I believe they create 40,000 HP of shield. It is economically viable if you just need to win that one round, but as time goes on and if you need constant protection for your fans, it might make a little bit more sense just to go with the fortress. All right, we're going to round 4. We have 5 units of fans that's already being leveled. We have a great card, but it's going to be a shield drop instead of the fire control system. Okay, so I get the shield drop. It's going to mitigate some of the cost with the constant shield. We have a bunch of level 2 fans. I wonder if this is the round for Mech Rage. We do have 500. Nope, there's not going to be enough money. We have Fire Badgers on the line. Molek, he knows something that I don't, because by the way that he's playing, if I were playing like this, I was like, there's no way I could win. I'm already being hard countered by the Fire Badgers, right? And I honestly don't know what more I can do. Now, one thing I could say though, right now, is that these Fire Badgers are being targeted super early on. I would love to see some crawlers in front of these Fire Badgers, allowing them to survive a little bit longer to get into the range and do the damage. But as it stands, once the Fire Badger dies and once the Arclight dies, there's really nothing left on the board to deal with these fans. I mean, the Sabertooth, they are tanky, but they're terrible in chaff clear. So I think it's a bit of a miss on the rep player side. I think what he's really expecting is fortresses in between these fans. And that's why he kept these highly inefficient chaff clear at the back line. But sometimes you can't pigeonhole yourself into a certain playstyle. You have to adapt with the board. And as you can see here, there is no fortress. And instead, it's just going to be waves and waves of fans. So once your initial chaff clear is gone, you have to deal with the rest of the chaff with very inefficient units. If I were him, I'll probably start selling some of these fortunes. All right, we got another unit drop. Excellent unit, the Wraith. You can take the Wraith, you can take range, and if you have 8 gun, they absolutely demolish fangs. So he does not have 8 gun, but he does have range. So I would love to see Wraith, possibly with early armor, to defend against these fans on the side. I wouldn't recommend putting a Wraith here against the level 2 and level 3 fans if they are, you know, because your armor is just not going to do so much. But instead, I would like to put both of the Wraith on the left-hand side, and you're effectively stopping all these fans from leveling up, because all they can really kill are the chaff and the ground units, while your Wraith in the air is going to demolish everything. Field Maintenance is being picked up. Field Maintenance is not a great card for Wraith, especially at level 1. And they are being countered by Armor Piercing Bullet, 50% damage. So now these fans are absolute chat. If you're watching this game and if you're as confused as I am on how the heck the strategy is actually working, yeah, please leave a comment below. I mean, if you're the rep player, what would you do? I think I would start selling the Sabertooth. I mean, these level 2 Sabertooth do absolutely nothing except to give experience to these fans. I would just go really hard either into Wraith or into Mustangs. Oh man, these armor piercing and Mech Rage fans, they do so much damage. And this is a huge round for our blue player. And there's always this looming threat, right? That our blue player is just going to drop like triple forts with shield. Heavy armor gets picked again. I think the heavy armor is going to go on. It's actually going to pick for both sides. I don't know if Molek is going to put heavy armor on some fans. Maybe he's waiting for an opportunity to drop triple forts. I mean, the space is already created for them, right? He can have a fort right here. That would be a beautiful spot. You have another fort right here, even though the shield bubble may not cover all the units here. Have another fort right here, shield bubble that up. At this point, there are no unit whatsoever on Molek's board except triple tech fans, and he continues to protect them with shield bubbles, which he will lose. So this turn, he is going to lose 400 supplies worth of shield bubbles. Oh, very expensive, very bold. I like it. And this is exactly what happens. Once you get rid of the chaff clear, everything just dies. And this is a huge round for our blue player. Oh my god, I can't believe this is actually working. This really shouldn't work. Efficient small unit manufacturing. I mean, he's gonna have to smash that button. Right there it is. That's gonna allow him to build even more fans. That's ridiculous. I think at this point I would just opting for like Wraith. get some big Wraith. He's got deployment spec and efficient manufacturing, and combine that with a additional mass recruitment is bringing down 4 more units and just not like a constant stream of fans. They don't even have shield yet. I mean, next turn he could very well take shield, and that's going to double the HP of his entire board, and that's just nuts. Oh my goodness. All right, looking at the red board, what can he do? First of all, he definitely could fix his anti-chaff protection. Right now, all the fans are firing at the fire badgers from the first shot, and they're getting killed so quickly. So imagine if he actually has some sort of chaff in front, right? That would be really good. Unfortunately, he took napalm, which means the fire badgers are able to ignite the ground. So if he has crawlers in front of them, he is going to kill his own crawler. So that is a very unfortunate tech combination. I mean, I get it, right? You want to set the ground on fire so you can get rid of these fangs a little faster. So that's not going to work. But what might work, as you saw in the last round, is that a second layer. Because after the smoke cleared, there's really only about, what, 3 or 4 squads of fans left over, because most of them died to the fire. So what he can actually do is to have like maybe 3 more level 2 Wraith with range. That's important. With range, and that's able to mop up those 3 or 4 squads of fans in the back. So that's an idea. Stormcrawlers, also an idea. Stormcrawler might be a little too slow at this point because of just how quickly these fans move with Mech Rage. And he's also a speed spec to start with, which means these fans now move at a staggering 14 meters per second. They move almost as fast as others. All right, so okay, this is good. This is good. He is putting down a secondary layer of fire badgers just to get rid of those late arriving fans. They do have range. They are currently not outranging the fans, but the fans, they move so fast, and the fire badger also moves so fast, so it doesn't really matter. There's going to be a flank in the form of 2 marksmen, and that's going straight to tower. Very smart play, because considering right now everything is being pushed to the front. I still don't think the Sabertooth is a great idea. I think he's waiting for the inevitable fort with shield, but it's never gonna come, right? And you don't need level 3 Sabertooth to deal with that. I mean, level 2 Sabertooth with double shot can deal with the level 1 force just fine. What he really needs is just layers and layers of chaffer. A beautiful flank coming in for our blue player, getting a tower, and of course getting the rest of the units. Now, is this game? I don't think so. I think he may have 1 more round to go, if not more. Holy crap. Like, I can't believe this strategy is actually working. There are so many ways that red can actually play against it, but so far, none of it is really working. Unit drop. None of it is good. I mean, Sandworm. Sandworm, I mean, all the units are surprisingly way better for our blue player than it is for our red player. Right now, he just really need hardcore chaffer. But even then, he might still lose, right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, okay, so triple wasp coming down, knowing that there's going to be a lot of investment into ground chaff clear and barely any sort of air. These 3 Wraith are getting picked off instantly by these high-level fans. So wasp, quadruple wasp with both ground spec and range is a beautiful move. I think once your fan carry gets to this point, you can pretty much do anything you want. Like this turn, if you don't want to do quadruple wasp, you can just put a war factory right here, make it a level 2 war factory, right? And it's going to tank all the damage, and the fans was going to do all the damage. You can do forts with shield, that's always an option. You can do Sandworm yourself. You can do triple Sandworm, putting them at the front, and that is going to cause a lot of chaos. We got Mech Rage on the crawlers. I think that's more of a panic attack. I think, why would you even get any tech on the crawlers if your fire badgers are just spewing fire on the ground? Makes no sense whatsoever. I think at this point, Molech has broken the poor red player. He does not know what to do. He's just clicking buttons, hoping that something will work. All right, so we got the wasp coming in. Sandworm doing a surprising amount of damage, and this is good. This is really good. Now we have the fire actually getting to these fangs. But there's no anti-air, and we have multiple squads of wasp, and this is going to be a win for our blue player. A ridiculous fan carry. I've never seen this kind of strategy before. You would expect something like this from like 900 MMR, not 1900 MMR. I mean, people are just, they know what to do against these fans. A few critical mistakes that our red player made this game. The first mistake is just having these fire badgers on the line. I mean, I get it, right? Fire badgers are pretty tanky. You want to draw fire from these fans so that your crawlers can move forward and destroy these fans. But what ended up happening is that the fans were just getting too much experience and getting a little bit too big. We got level 4, potentially getting to level 5s. Yeah, so that was problem number 1. Problem number 2 was napalm. Yes, it's excellent against fans, but it also kills your units very quickly. But that shouldn't stop you from putting additional chaff in front, right? Even if it's just fans, I think fans probably will work a little better. They stay in front to cover your fire badgers until your crawlers move in. There's always the option of adding down shields for yourself. There's a lot of ways to protect your fire badgers. And because none of that really happened until the very last round, you are just letting your opponent running away with high level. So great game. And if Molek, if you're in the comments, please tell us your secret and the thought process behind this game. I'd love to hear it. And if you're interested in another great game, here is one for you. And I'll see you on the next one.
Prepare your tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battlefield's alive with swarms.